Welcome to this fourth edition of Consumer Watch, where we're looking at data that was collected in the early part of November, just ahead of recent government announcements. So it's very interesting to see what has and hasn't changed in this latest set of results. So let's take a look at the criteria that we set up in terms of the universe of 10,000 people that we actually asked these questions to. Question 1, has COVID affected your attitudes towards travel to Africa? I guess the most exciting result that we've got from here is this increase in the number of people who are even more determined to travel than ever before. Question 2 is, when allowed to travel, how soon do you actually expect to be in Africa? So in summary, this is telling us that in 2021, we've around 2/3 of people who are still expecting to travel. So there's plenty to go for. And what we're seeing is they're very definitely excited about getting out there. So once restrictions are gone, once health is in a better position, we sense that this really will see huge numbers of people wanting to travel. But remember, this is pre-announcement of vaccination availability, so that could have a real market impact that we'll see next month. Question 3, how soon do you want to actually be booking your trip? Question 4 was all about whether COVID had impacted on people's ability to travel from a financial perspective. And really quite surprisingly, very few people have said that it has. 5, when flying, what increased safety measures do you expect to see? And what we can see here is really there aren't that many changes. Question 6 started to look at whether people would still be willing to travel, even if that involved them quarantining when they got back to the UK. Now bear in mind, there have been the number of days have been changing, it's been extended, it's been reduced. Here we saw almost half of those researched said that they would be prepared to travel. So whilst the figure hasn't changed enormously, it's still massively encouraging. Question 7 was about the wearing of face masks on game drives, on boat trips, on walking safaris. And personally, I'm really encouraged to see now that 2/3 of people say no, that shouldn't actually need to happen. So question 8 was about what safety measures people expect when they get to their accommodation in Africa. A few little tweaks here, and what's becoming apparent is that people's expectations in terms of things like sanitizers, face masks and social distancing, really now they've become the norm. Question 9 was where we asked people about where, when they go back to Africa, do they actually want to go and visit. On this first sheet we can't even see major changes, but it is still worrying that Rwanda is right down there, even with this little bit of recovery, still quite worryingly low scores. On this second sheet, the two that stand out for me are Uganda, that continues to have a fairly dramatic slide, and all that we can really assess that on is perhaps some of the political stories that are coming out of Kampala, but the desire for Uganda has dropped dramatically from the days when Kamegeo was marketing the destination, and at the same time we've also got a continued drop for Mozambique, which we really can't explain. Some of the bigger players will probably be concerned, particularly the likes of Kenya and Tanzania, that their desirability just continues to ebb away a little bit, and this really does need to be turned around. To our top 4, more encouraging results from Zambia, a significant drop from Namibia, which I'm quite concerned about, but Botswana and South Africa continue to stand out from the crowd with great scores. This is a new section and relates to the fact that we were looking to get an assessment from UK consumers about how they feel the UK has fared versus Africa in terms of infection rates and in terms of deaths. Personally, I think that these results are incredibly positive. We'll whiz through them, but what you'll see is either half of people don't know the situation, or they believe that Africa has fared far better than the UK. And we believe that this is a message that should be portrayed to consumers to say, actually, despite the fact that you probably expected Africa to have far greater problems with COVID, the reality is they've had far less incidents of both infection and death. And this sounds pretty encouraging. So that's the end of Consumer Watch number 4. Number 5 will be going out there very soon, and we're obviously going to be looking at those results from vaccine, from Christmas news, and from the tier system being reintroduced back into the UK. We'll see what impact that has. In the meantime, stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you soon. Bye now.